Okay, it's 5 o'clock and we have our meeting to agenda for a special meeting and budget work session. Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Dittrich.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Here.
Councilmember Sherburne.
Here.
Councilmember Gray.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Okay, well, I guess tonight's kind of the night to make any suggestions, get the rest of the questions answered. Is that correct, Tim? And then set our public hearing.
Yep, we have to set the public hearing, because we have to take the page that you have in front of you over to Carla, and Aaron has to upload it online by March 5th, because they will
At 4
publish.
p.m.
Well, it's not procrastinate.
No, no, but it's March 5th by 4 p.m. I checked the code and it
Mm.
does say by 4 p.m.
We just have to set that off, so we have the public hearings set for the levy rate, which is what this sets. We're looking at setting that for April 7th. Because we cannot have it before March 20th. We'll just put it into our process this way. We'll have the public hearing. Close the meeting. And then we set the public hearing for the adoption of the budget. At the public hearing on the 7th, the only thing we can have is discussion on the levy rate. We close that meeting, we'll take probably a half-hour break, 15-20 minute break, whatever it is, to distinguish between the two separate meetings. And go with the next meeting.
So there'll be two rather short meetings, but we just need to have them procedurally.
It seemed like that half an hour was quite long last.
It is,
I think
But
we
that's
could probably get by with 15.
15 is probably the minimum they're gonna look at. So,
So maybe we can,
because they want a very clear and distinct difference between the two meetings.
so maybe we'd have the one meeting at 5 and then the other one at 5:30. Or 5:20.
5:20, because
Say 5:20
So
because.
5:20.
Give it 5
in case
minutes.
Somebody does want to talk.
Yeah,
because I think they do want us to keep the meeting open for just a little bit in case someone comes in to talk.
Somebody come in if you can do it or something like
We had
that.
someone come
Yeah.
in afterwards and
mhm.
we'll need a motion to set the public hearing, yes.
Close tax rate for April 7th at 5 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I can go ahead and take a roll. Okay, Mary?
Yes.
Is it Bill?
No,
Linda, sorry. Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Joe?
Yes.
All right, so that's set now. Any questions or changes on what was presented or what?
We have not made any changes on our side from what we presented to you 2 weeks ago. You have all the line items. Are there any questions on any departments, any line items, anything we need to discuss?
And just as, I know you all know this, but this is the maximum amount we can do. We can always reduce.
We can go down, we can't
Can go up.
Correct, so this would be the maximum amount that we could levy for.
Did we, I can't recall, did we decide on forward streets?
The council has left it in the budget, however, it has to come back before the council before we purchase it or make an order for it. So it's in there. It can be removed, no action could be taken, or could proceed with ordering one.
But that would come to the council for a decision before we.
Absolutely.
This budget is.
We know if we decide to make that purchase, we can do so.
In
Obviously,
the event we're forced to.
correct.
Yeah.
It obviously eats into our reserves,
So we can back it out if we want.
Mhm.
correct.
Necessarily.
Yeah, same
Yep.
with the police canine
Yeah.
car is in there. And then similarly, we can, they allow for amendments throughout the year because you're setting a budget in April for a year that doesn't start till July 1. So, we lose the Terrell Park, the backwaters,
that culvert.
culvert that goes out. We amend and put that in. We do think there may need to be some engineering done.
We'll have to get a Army Corps of Engineers permit in order for us to replace that. So I'm gonna work with Jason Wanger, Burlington Group, to get us started down that process. I think the permit's good for 2 or 3 years, but we want to get that because it takes time for that to be processed anyway.
So if we have that in place,
Well-
then if it goes out, then we can
We
proceed.
can
right?
proceed, yeah. As opposed to having to wait until we get authorization to move forward.
There's not anything that we were discussing that we took out though, is there?
No.
I think it's-
No,
We have the sewer camera in there.
sewer camera still, and that's a very big need. We need to do some televising of areas where we're gonna do some work. We
But
had
again, that will come to the council.
that still comes for the council, yep. We're still looking at $50,000 for minor street repairs, and that would be asphalt overlays, mill and overlays. We've got 4 streets we've identified that we'd like to do, but I think 2 streets are all we're going to be able to afford to do. We'll bring that back to the council, but we're looking at doing New Street for that one, a block of New Street. I think it's from Prospect Street to Clara Avenue. That is unraveling quite a bit, needs to be resurfaced. And we were also looking at East Marion Street between Franklin and Madison. Or maybe it's Franklin and Tama. So in front of Fairway and block, yeah. Because it too, if you get a chance to look at it, it's unraveling pretty much. The other areas we looked at was Grant Street between 3rd and 5th Street, Lincoln Street between 3rd and 5th Street. They haven't been touched for quite a while and they're starting to get bad. Those are also very local collectors. They don't get a lot of traffic on them, but we'd like to extend their duration. But when I'm proposing again, and this will be the first year in the budget where we have $50,000 we set aside for small asphalt overlay projects.
And we already have.
East Main Street's in.
East Main.
Correct.
Yes.
When was that? Gonna start?
It's probably as soon as the plants open up. My guess, they usually don't open before April 15th. It's gotta get warmer before they can do that. And the frost is gonna have to be out of the ground before they can do that. But that's one of the first jobs they wanna get onto and get done.
Did do we have room in budgeting for down the road if we were gonna do something, as far as like small businesses downtown?
We have the downtown incentive fund and that is carrying a decent balance now. So I would say we would look at that and see if there's ways we could modify that program to work for what the need is now. Cause that program just went into place when I started in 2002. So, it may be time for just a little bit of a revamp to it and cause we have addressed many of the storefronts and, interiors, so it might, I think,
If I can jump
Yep.
in there, they're gonna be putting a survey out to some people who or expressed interest in that survey about opening new businesses, what they need and stuff. They're creating that right now. In fact, Laura just sent 2 today. And, we've got a couple small task force that are going out and gonna do some touring, some other communities and see what they're doing for their businesses and so forth. So, I think till we get some of that information,
Right.
it'll be hard to really know what we wanna do with anything. Good grades involved in that, and so, we'll keep you posted on those findings.
We did meet at the bowling alley, we really gave you to
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, the survey that was done was nice to have an idea. The one thing that the survey didn't include was, with the people that wanted to bring business here, where are we at on that? Is this a early stage dreams, or is it because we got some financial backing, but we don't have the rest, like we don't have information to really know how to help them.
Yeah,
So that's why,
That survey's going on.
right, and that's why I was kind of curious if we still had something.
I think it's such a big
Right.
situation of starting a business that you don't know which state.
Right.
Definitely, yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think probably that's the top thing.
Right.
and, yeah, just identify what the best way is for us to assist them.
and right now we have over $100,000 in the downtown incentive fund. About 135 or so. So there is a decent amount of money in there. And we have talked at the design committee, the downtown incentive committee meetings too, about maybe looking at some new directions for it. But I think like the task force and the retail committee, maybe they can help drive that and tell us
Yeah,
what.
we definitely need more answers before we can start helping, but
Mhm,
just being an extra set of hands, so to say, isn't always what a person needs.
yeah,
There used to be a store, maybe senior core of retired
Mhm.
executives that used to be able to help with business plans and stuff like that. And we didn't have it in Delaware County, but Dubuque did have it. And so trying to reach out to people and help them establish a business plan to make sure that their business ideas are feasible.
Right, right.
Well, I would think the toughest part for a new business when they kick in is just the rent. I mean, when you're starting out a new business, or even if you're bringing another business in here from another town, you know, you got that upfront cost of rent, which just, you know, I couldn't even imagine trying to, you know, if I was gonna move my thing to Dyersville or to Independence or something, and then paying the storefront rent, and then trying to make it. It would be
Establish.
real tough, you know, even with an established business, it'd be real tough.
Yeah.
So I feel their heartburn and, you know, other towns are experiencing this too. As I go around, you know, you see storefronts that are vacant, Independence, they're upgrading their fronts,
Mhm.
but, you know, they still have quite a few people that are turning over. Dyersville is lucky for some reason. I mean, they always seem to keep,
Well, they've turned a corner. They've had some issues before up till now, but I think the Field of Dreams is
Field of Dreams helped.
the infusion cash there, and then the downtown has helped a little bit.
I wonder how much for Dyersville, for instance. The city runs between two counties,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
how much each one, you know what I mean?
I know the Delaware County helps as much as Dubuque
You know, but
County.
I mean, like, they're
Yeah.
right on the county line.
Yeah, they are.
So, I mean,
Right, so.
cause that business park that they put out, where they got, like digging and stuff like
Mhm.
that, that's Delaware County property.
Yep,
So. I don't know, I don't know, they're a different community, they have different setups, so to say.
yeah.
But
And there's a lot of influx of money over there. You know, you got all the farmers that are coming in retired and buying homes. You got a lot of money over there.
Mhm.
That ethanol plant.
Yeah,
helps
that's
too.
all fine.
That helped tremendously.
that's an all point, but this is Delaware County.
Mhm.
So,
Again, the budget does include 7% rate increases for water and sewer. And that's
And-
part of what we're looking at to cover our expenditures.
And 3% wage
Wage
increase
increase for
for the.
employees.
So we applied that across all staff.
I actually looked at my water sewer garbage bill for the first time in a long time. After the last meeting, cause I was like,
So, and we will probably be bringing those rate increase ordinances to the council within the next month, just so that we can get through the process of the 3 readings, publishing, so that Julie can have it ready to go for the billing that goes out the end of June. So,
And I don't like to skip readings,
Right.
especially with these
on
increases.
rate increases,
We want to make sure that people have the opportunity to be heard on that.
and that they know.
So are you looking for a motion then that we approve this to do this, or
Nope.
you just need?
We're just needing
Go ahead and
guidance from the
publish?
council. If there's any concerns, anything that we need to look up and get answers back to you right away on.
If you're okay with this
Levy rate,
the proposed levy. This will have another public hearing on the levy rate, so it's what we've discussed all along at the $15, it's about 3/4 of the way down, $15 and 0.45410 per thousand, which is down from last year's 15.55175, so.
roughly 41 cents.
Yes,
Did our liability, property and self-insurance propose go down then some?
we had built in an increase, I'm always doing it. This one's hard to figure because
Okay.
I go based off what we paid last April. We paid again here April 1, I'm anticipating a 10% increase April 1. And then I do another 10% increase for the following year. So it goes, I go off of actual, so if the actuals from April 1 of 24 came in lower,
Oh,
then it impacts the rate for the upcoming year. And so that's what it had
That's why it
happened.
came down, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear as mud.
I'm okay on this as long as we're allowed to amend the budget,
Yes.
Mhm.
because somebody's at.
And definitely have them come before you for approval.
Yeah.
So just because they're budgeted, we drill into the department heads that just because it's budgeted doesn't mean it's doesn't-
Allocated
allocated.
or appropriated. Yep.
Yeah, the council still has to approve.
And how they post this, so it's not exactly like how we see this, correct?
No,
No,
they're gonna
It's
send
make
it,
Even more convoluted.
yeah, it's gonna look different than last year's, because they learned a few things last year doing both the residential
And
and the
commercial.
commercial at 150,000,
and there's no difference between the two.
because the first 150.
You know, commercial is taxed as residential. So now that's gonna be commercial or residential is 150, but commercial will be 300,000.
Yeah, so then it'll show the actual what the impact would be to a commercial property. You'll get the first 150 at the residential rate, and then
That would be nice, cause I got a
Roll back.
lot of phone calls on that one, and I was like, I don't know how to explain this like the best of the ways, but.
yeah. And always, you can always send them down here too. It's really confusing, I think, for people. When they get it, but it's transparency that the state thinks we need, so we'll get it submitted so we can get our funds. Yeah, and they are looking at, the legislative things that came out last week,
Yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah, the assault on local government is continuing. So they had 3 bills come out that had a significant impact to us. That they're proposing, they're not through the Senate or either house yet,
But
but
they're ones that just popped
it
up.
just popped up. So remember, we talked about it, the limitation on sanitary sewer at 2% or cost of living, whichever's, or CPI, whichever's less. They've added a bill out there now for solid waste, garbage bills.
Well,
So I'm waiting for the water thing to drop as well, for them to sit there and say 2% limitation or CPI. There's a proposal, as Councilmember Schmidt talked to me earlier, on eliminating franchise fees. Cities cannot collect franchise fees.
Is there a grandfathered in policy on? that?
Nope, they'll eliminate it altogether,
So they just, so.
You can have a franchise, you can't charge a fee, right?
correct.
So with the Bitcoin coming out
Mhm.
here, that possibility would go away. then.
Correct.
As well as anything that comes with your internet.
So.
Yep.
Also.
They're getting rid of all our backfill. They're limiting what we can get in property taxes, and now they're taking away, we use our franchise fee to help offset
Right.
street lighting costs and public safety and all of that. So, and that's, 400,000 for us easily.
They're capping our
So-
growth.
So there, we're gonna, if that goes through, we lose that money.
So basically what they're saying is need to be less reliant on property taxes, but we're not gonna let you have any other funding stream either.
Well, landfill or.
Solid waste, yeah.
Solid waste, that, I mean, a lot of that's not really set by us, it comes from the police years as far as that goes. So how could they say we can't raise it if they raise it on us, or is it just gonna be a loss if that passes?
It'll be a loss.
I'm not sure how they're going to do that. Now, they may make an exemption if we contract out. So the city is not providing that service, because there are certain cities that do provide solid waste collection. They may just say, well, you'll have to contract out in order, but in order to have an increase above the 2%, you would have to have a referendum. To have a referendum, which is a vote of the people, all referendums are now only allowed to be in November at the general election. You can't have a special election on that. And referendums require 60% supermajority,
What do you offer?
not for long.
You don't become.
But we could contract that out to Cleaser.
Well, right now we do, so I'm not sure how the law is going to be written as far as where cities contract out, because cities, well, we do have an administrative fee on top of that.
Right.
Feels like they want us to unincorporate, just be reliant on the county.
Yeah, the counties don't wanna see, I
No,
mean,
counties are gonna get hamstrung too, they're getting hamstrung.
Right, but then basically, you're just gonna start eliminating the cities to go into the counties, and then the counties
Mhm.
get choked out, and it'll always be state.
You know, they think that I don't know, they think we're sitting on pools of money and that you guys don't understand the impact of what you do, but you are the most most
Connected.
easily accessible form of government out there. You go to the grocery store, people are asking you, you're paying those property taxes, you're paying those utility rates, so the decisions you're making at this table directly impact you. So,
You know, if you look at the bigger cities, like down around Des Moines. You know, that might be a different where, man, new houses being built and 10 or 15 of them being built. And monstrous factories being built and just building property itself. That might be feasible for them down there, but in the rural areas, and that's what's sad, that the senators and representatives don't listen to us, they listen to everybody in Des Moines.
Well, it's still not feasible because Des Moines had to cut $17 million out of their budget in order for them to balance their budget this year. North Liberty was in the paper here recently. They're losing some money because they can't capture all the growth. It costs money to grow, especially if you're putting in infrastructure to do so. We're doing that here. We're trying to grow our community. We're trying to do everything we can to make sure we have a quality workforce to support the businesses we have. You can't recruit people to move to town if you don't have amenities that would attract them to live here.
well, when new houses get built, the people that live there need services. They're gonna call for police if something happens. They want their streets plowed in the new subdivisions. Yeah, I mean, it's not like that's we're getting a whole windfall of cash there. It's a benefit to us, but there's also a cost.
Well, we can provide like trash removal. You know, cause that's an expense, or cleaning your streets and stuff, so then you gotta look back at it like, yeah, the citizen is saving some money, but at that point in time, are we really being able to help the citizen the way we need to?
Yeah.
Or the way they want us to, so at that point in time, who do these laws help? I mean, at the end of the day. I mean,
That's just it. There are so many bills going around right now. I think it is trying to distract us from the property tax bills and what they're going to do with the property tax, because they've floated a property tax proposal out there, which would eliminate the residential rollback, which is nice, because that is one of the variables in our property tax calculations that we have no control over. The state sets it. But if they're going to do that, they're obviously going to limit and do restrictions on the levy rates that we have available to us.
And there is at the Farm Bureau Friday,
Friday, 10 AM,
10 AM, there's
a legislative.
legislative session, so.
Senator Dan Zumba and Representative Craig Johnson, yeah, typically have been, they were there last time. So
Is it over at the office over
it's
here?
over at the office, in the back room of their office,
Okay.
10 AM on Friday.
do we,
And it's good for them to hear from
Council
people other
members.
than,
We
yeah.
never got, the
council
last
members.
time I was at it, never got passed anything about farming. You know, so it
Well,
never-
sometimes you have to speak up.
Well, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, useful, but- Yeah.
so are we going to be limited on the amount of council members that we present?
No,
no,
because it's a
I got
legislative
a
session.
doctor's.
I was just out of curiosity, I mean, sometimes we watch it.
I just as soon not have more than two, but if we have
Okay.
three, that's fine. We're not making any decisions on city government. We are asking questions. Oh, by the way, they want to restrict the city's abilities to hire lobbyists. And they're going to consider the Iowa League of Cities a lobbyist.
Really?
Real.
So
what about
our
other
dues that we pay to
lobbyists?
the Iowa League of
What
Cities to
about other
represent us.
lobbyists? Does the insurance companies get hit too and all?
Farm.
No, because this is property taxes that are paying for things that support our residents and help us get our points across when there's legislation that comes up that they may not understand the ramifications for.
So if we don't have the Iowa League of Cities as part-time council members, so to say, this is our everyday 40 hours a week
Right.
job. When I have questions about stuff about laws that have come out, where am I supposed to?
You can talk to them about that, but they cannot, we have two lobbyists that work for the Iowa League of Cities that represents cities' interests and talks about the different bills that come up and how they would impact us, whether it's public safety, property tax, anything that's related to the city. If the Iowa League of Cities has lobbyists go there, if they pass this legislation, they can't, Iowa League of Cities could no longer have lobbyists represent us at the Capitol.
To explain the impact that they have, their law.
And-
To also inform us when
So they just
something's
want
going
to
on.
voice, so they can do
Yeah.
what they want now.
At one time, they had a proposal that would prohibit even me from going up there representing the city, because I'd be classified as a lobbyist if I'm talking to them.
Did they look at that you're a citizen?
Apparently,
I mean, to me.
A
they should
registered
be looking
voter.
at it and say,
It's representing people.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very heartbreaking right now, trying to figure out what we're going to do to provide the services that our residents have come to expect and want.
Well, the other thing is as those services, if you have to start cutting them, then eventually other things will go. We won't be able to
Mhm.
get good doctors for our hospitals. We won't be able to have teachers for our schools. People will go other places because they want better things. Our schools could close. We could, I mean, that is a rabbit hole.
But that's gonna affect probably all communities, not just.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
just- It's not just.
Well,
It's gonna be
the state of
rural,
Iowa.
all the
Rural.
rural communities.
Those are the
First.
bigger cities first, and then once that was choked out, then we just leave the state.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They're already in the state.
Yeah, it's,
Young people are not staying here.
it's an attack on the cities for sure.
Anyway, so can we say, is a council agreement to go ahead and let them publish?
Yes, I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Again, as you continue to look through the budget, if you have questions, Aaron and I are happy to answer them. Give you the information you have, need, make you feel comfortable with what we proposed. But there has not been any changes since we last met 2 weeks ago.
I mean, it's just nice to see that it's even down from last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much, but
Mm.
we're trying to get it down.
It's due to growth, though, yes.
It's, we were limited to our growth, so our general fund levy has gone down, and that's the problem. Everybody sees the total levy amount. The general fund levy is what covers all of our general fund activities. Public safety, parks recreation, library, city hall. You know, people can disagree on whether or not they want to spend money on city hall, but someone has to do something around here to keep things, keep the books going, keep everything else going. Public safety lights, traffic lights.
Yeah, I mean, look at the madness we had when the stoplight there by the library wasn't working. Right? I mean, but that's just a little sample size.
Mhm.
You don't really realize how good you got it until you ain't got it.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, and thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And then for all of our work we did in putting stuff together. Thank our department heads too for all the stuff that they do. And answering our questions as they come along, so. Anything else, Brian? Anything?
Nope.
Linda?
No,
Okay, me?
No.
Yeah.
Are we ready for one more blizzard?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be that bad. There's only gonna be an inch of snow. It's just blowing so fast and hard.
Terrible winds.
That's gonna end up in Delhi?
Yeah,
No, I have nothing.
Have a happy birthday on Saturday,
Thank you.
yes, so hopefully your car's done, so you can enjoy your day and feel a little freedom. Thank you for handling the meeting without me and with that, I'll take the motion from Ryan, the second from Linda to adjourn and give her.